Buenos dias to this lazy Sunday, where we have some breaking news, to be honest. We have some breaking news about the Cosmos Hub and Atom with a brand new proposal that is going to bring partial set security on-chain within 12 days. We're also going to be talking about some coins that are at massive discounts right now, and just look at what we're finding in Cosmos land, what gems we have right now that are on a discount. But before we do that, let's also briefly check out the ETF numbers. Another massive $221 million in inflows on Friday. And even Grayscale is now pulling green day after green day. BlackRock is back 38 million. Fidelity, another nearly $100 million. So the past week has been really, really bullish for the ETF flows. And we are now only 4 days away for the SEC to approve or deny the Ethereum spot ETF. But yeah, this is in the end of the day just a decision of one or two people how they feel about all this, because there's no fundamental reason for them to reject it. Considering that Ethereum futures ETF was already approved and that all of them removed staking from their applications, might mean that this is actually a good chance. But yes, the odds are very low. Like I said, Coinbase is saying 30 to 40%. A Bloomberg ETF analyst, Eric Balchunas, is saying 35%, but the crypto community believes 7% for the approval to happen next week. But anyways, keep a close eye on this. This might change the trajectory of the bull run this year, same as it already did for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has already been trading above all-time high before the halving, which never happened before. But and yeah, in a similar way, this ETF could fuel the Ethereum price, and with it also all altcoins inevitably to new highs very, very soon, very, very fast. Anyways, at the same time, we'll also have the Biden decision on whether or not to veto this SAB 121 thing, which basically also means if he does not veto it, it would be a bullish sign that also Democrats are now also at least not trying to too obviously kill crypto. Also remember, it is election year, and in November we'll have elections, and Trump already came out and said relatively positive things about crypto, and basically that he would embrace crypto. And now I think the Democrats, the ball is in their court. So we'll have to wait and see. But the main topic for today, like I said, is the breaking news. Atom proposal 924 is now in voting period. And this is the Gaia V17 software upgrade. Why is this a big one? Well, this is probably one of the biggest ones because it is evolving the flagship product of the Cosmos Hub into a new version. And this new version is called partial set security. So the Cosmos Hub's killer application in that sense right now is shared security. For being an interchain service provider, security is the first product. There will also be liquidity as a second product. I'm going to talk about this as well later on. But security is the first one. First of all, we had replicated security, V1 of shared security. And the thing here is it is not really scalable. And also everything has to go through on-chain governance. And it's also a very big overhead for validators because they have to double or replicate their infrastructure, and the on-chain protocol revenue that's being generated by those chains so far hasn't really paid that off, right? So we have Neutron and Stride, who are currently the only two Cosmos Hub secured chains using replicated security. But with this feature now evolving into partial set security, both Neutron and Stride would also automatically adapt to that. But yeah, why is this feature big? Well, this feature is big because it scales shared security on the Cosmos Hub. It allows for a lot more customizability and flexibility. And also it should and will attract a lot more chains to use that feature. We already know of a couple ones. We already know Alice Network, Aether, which is an EVM hub. Alice is a perp stacks. We have also Lorenzo Protocol, which is a Bitcoin liquid staking provider, and many more, right? We also have Landslide potentially that is going to bring AVAX restaking and AVAX IBC interoperability. So basically connecting Cosmos to Avalanche and so on and so forth. So we actually have the Cosmos Hub ecosystem now massively evolving, which number one is actually bullish news for Atom for real this time. So far, Atom really didn't have strong value accrual, but with partial set security and all the chains that I just mentioned and builders, this is not only going to drive more competition, drive more eyeballs, visibility, and actual adoption of the core product, but also value accrual for Atom. So the Cosmos Hub could actually be one of the most innovative and most used restaking platforms out there. Talking about Neutron and Stride, and I said to you earlier, I want to go through some of the coins today that are also maybe on a discount. Neutron, in my view, is one of them. Neutron, in my view, at 67 cents is on a discount. I only have my airdrop back, and I never bought NTRN. Maybe like a few NTRN I bought on the market, but not really an actual decent position. But NTRN is definitely one that I have my eyes on. It is a permissionless Cosmos-enabled chain that brings smart contracts into the Cosmos family by basically attracting builders, DeFi applications, and so on and so forth. Astroport is a flagship application. We also have Mars Protocol migrating there very soon, and a lot more DeFi stuff and things around it. And Neutron also has its own governance. So it doesn't have its own security because it replicates Atom security, but it has its own governance. And I also strongly urge you to participate in governance and deposit your NTRN in governance vaults, because we already have the first announcement from ELE token that will do an airdrop for Neutron governance participants. Then we also have Apollo DAO and some others, but yeah, in my view, NTRN, considering that it's also listed on Binance, they have strong ties to a lot of the big players out there, is on a massive discount right now from $1.87 here at the peak, 65% down, almost went to $2. And yeah, remember that this eventually is the core team from P2P Validator, which is not only OGs and Cosmos, but also the core team behind Lido. Lido is probably the most successful application in crypto. Lido staked ETH, rank 7, $30 billion market cap almost, bigger than XRP, bigger than Ton, bigger than Doge, bigger than ADA, bigger than all of these. So yeah, Lido very strong. And there's also some exciting news for Neutron coming up. I caught up with Avril here in Dubai when he was there 2 weeks ago. So I also got some alpha. And yeah, we'll be sharing that here very, very soon. Then we also have Stride, the second consumer chain, got really slammed over the past couple of weeks and months, $1.74, and went up here to around $7. This was a time when the market was just pumping left and right. And also they announced the fundraiser, which by the way, I also participated in, and they announced also their ST-TIA product with a massive, massive airdrop, 5% of the STRD supply dedicated to that. But yeah, now I think, yeah, they have been aggressively rolling out that feature and airdrops. And you always have to also be on the lookout for new airdrops that are coming, because yeah, they have a lot of airdrops all the time basically. But yeah, Stride at those levels actually I don't think is the worst price. $157 million valuation, and they now have $135 million in TVL. Also now Stride though has more and more competitors in the liquid staking field. I talk a lot about P-Stake, Persistence, also one of our media partners. They are now also doing STK BTC. I talked about it, liquid staking for Bitcoin in collaboration with Babylon. So they're going a bit of a different direction. And but then we also have Milky Way, which by the way I also placed a strategic investment into Milky Way. And then we also have Nebula, which is doing liquid staking for Dymension. We also have OG liquid staking providers like Stuffy. And we will have a lot more refined for certain ecosystems and certain chains. And to be honest, I'm not sure. My thesis has always been about liquid staking that we probably should have a healthy competition, but also I don't think we need one liquid staking provider per chain, right? And I feel like that's almost the direction we're going to now. But anyways, I think the liquid staking race is far from over. Stride is currently leading. I love Stride. I love the team. I love that they're Atom aligned and that they're aggressively rolling out their token also incentives for attracting TVL. But yeah, competition is not sleeping, and I think competition is also healthy, but also needs to be in a synergetic way in the end of the day, right? So let's see where this is going. But yeah, like I said, check out the Stride airdrop. There might be something for you to claim right now. Now, where does this put the Cosmos Hub? I talked about this a lot, that I'm extremely bullish on this roadmap here. This is the Q2 roadmap for the Cosmos Hub. The V16 upgrade from May here already went through. We have now ICA control epochs, IBC fees, and IBC rate limiting. This one specifically is very, very important to mitigate potential damage in a worst case scenario. So if IBC would get hacked or compromised, or there was some worst case scenario, which to be honest in the past 3 years never happened, IBC rate limiting would mitigate the damage, because this would mitigate the amount that could flow out through IBC from this chain. So this is just a security mechanism, which is very, very important. But yeah, we also have a lot of different verticals here, right? We have ICS 2.0, interchain security 2.0 called partial set security, which I talked about. Illis network is potentially going to be the first one to launch here in June. Then we also have Lorenzo in June. These two are very, very important and big. I also think Ether is going to be there, but I'm not sure why they're not on here. At the same time, we also have the Babylon integration in the DevNet, which is supposed to happen also in early June, and Hydro V1. And Hydro V1 is basically Atom Wars, which basically will bootstrap the launch of a new product for liquidity, providing interchain liquidity. This is another feature, another product in the suite that the Cosmos Hub is going to offer. Besides security, also liquidity, and Hydro V1 is going to bootstrap that. So this is the phase here. Then we also have for June, we also have Cosmos in the V18 upgrades that is going to come. This is then the final cherry on the top of the cake, which is going to enable a lot more use cases and flexibility and tooling for developers. And yeah, evolving the Cosmos Hub basically into a security aggregation layer with Babylon and eventually also with Eigenlayer through restaked ETH. So very, very ambitious timeline, very ambitious roadmap. And this is only Q2. So if this all gets achieved, to be honest, I'm very bullish on Atom. If this all gets achieved, if all these consumer chains launch, if Cosmos launches, if Atom Wars gains massive traction, if Babylon integration is going to be first and also integrated smoothly, then I'm extremely, extremely bullish. Right now, I'm cautiously bullish on the Cosmos app, and I always say Atom should be in your portfolio, but you should not be overexposed. If you're not holding TIA, if you're not holding Osmo, if you're not holding at least 10 other coins in Cosmos, including stars and like many others, I don't think you're doing right in terms of investing into Cosmos or the interchain. But now I feel the Cosmos Hub is actually going to become an interchain service provider with this roadmap, and I'm very bullish on that. And also that would justify more and more for the Cosmos Hub to reclaim the Cosmos brand and to actually become Cosmos by building out its own ecosystem of Atom secure chains. So very, very bullish on that, and curious to hear what you think. Also, check out the Atom Zone, which I started with Rob a year and a half ago. Actually, I started a lot earlier with Billy Rennekamp. If you remember those days, we started a format, and now this is being carried on by Clemens and Wookie from Second Relax, and also the Cosmos Hub account here, which I think Rob is in there sometimes somebody from AADAO, somebody from Informal. So they're also rotating all the time. And after this roadmap here for Spaces, Ether already happened, Alice Network already happened. Next up, Landslide Network, and then Lorenzo Protocol. Yeah, I wish that Noble was also there, to be honest. Noble is a USDC issuance chain, a native asset issuance. They also have a lot more assets than USDC, but USDC is the main one. And they already have over $206 million worth of USDC issued on Noble. And to put that into context, this ranks them right after Polygon. They actually briefly flipped Polygon, but now Polygon unflipped Noble. But Noble has more than Near, Optimism, Stellar, Tron, all of these chains. So Noble, the 7th largest USDC issuance chain. And I wish this would become Atom secured. I also understand that there's a potential path to align more with Ethereum through Restake ETH. But also, like I said in a recent video, it's not mutually exclusive. And the fact that the Cosmos Hub also partnered now with Rollchains, which is a project by Jack Sempolin, means that I think there's also a pathway for Noble to become Atom and ETH and eventually also Bitcoin secured. So that Noble could actually source multi-asset security. And I think this is very interesting. Another thing why I'm bullish on Atom is because of Asteroids. And I think Asteroids still is the most underrated feature the Cosmos Hub has, and this is getting better and better and better, this product. I also caught up with the Delphi team here in Dubai. We had a brunch together. I met them on a boat. I met them a couple of times. We talked a lot about Roids, a lot about Asteroids as a platform, the Cosmos Hub's positioning, inscriptions, and I think the Cosmos Hub is actually one of the most innovative inscriptions platforms out there, right? And if you just look at the impact that ordinals and runes had on Bitcoin, reviving this entire ecosystem and pivoting or evolving from like a bedrock into something that's actually fun, that also activates the community. This is something that also activates the Cosmos Hub community. And also considering the fact that Atom 1 forked away now from the Cosmos Hub with Jaquan, AIB, and some of the fundamentalists that believe in hub minimalism, that also means that the Cosmos Hub has a lot more flexibility to play around with things like Asteroids, with things like interchain security, partial set security, and do a lot more aggressive BD, and so on and so forth. Anyways, Atom itself, $8.46, still extremely low in my view, hasn't pumped at all. Considering the fact, though, that we still have a decent staking APR, actually, I think it's around 17%, means that holding Atom throughout the bear market isn't actually that bad as some people portray it would be, right? Holding Atom, considering the high staking APR, considering the amount of airdrops we got, TIA, Dymension, we get NUM, we get so many airdrops. We got the NTRN airdrop, the Stride airdrop, you name it. We have a lot more coming up. It means they're not actually that bad, at least in my opinion. I think everybody that held Atom through the bear market is doing relatively fine, right? Anyway, so that's all about the Cosmos Hub. Next up, Celestia TIA, $9.41. And yeah, it's been cooling down a lot, but also really want to remind you to put things into the broader context and also to not forget how things started, right? So TIA launched here at around $2 billion market cap, $2.30 in November last year, late October, right? Which, to be honest, for me, that was like a decent start, right? Considering that in October, we kind of just started to pump with the market. Then we went up to over $20. And I felt around $5, $6, $7, this is already a decent price, right? And thinking back, like $5 billion valuation for a chain back in November, December, actually was a lot, Now, 6 months later, of course, the bull run has kicked in. ETF was approved, the tide is much higher. Now 5-6 billion is nothing too fancy anymore, right? But back then it was. Nonetheless, TIA went to $20, which implied a $20 billion FTV, and now has cooled off a lot to $9.5 billion, $9.7 billion FTV, right? So is it all over? Is the meta for TIA around modularity, data availability, the airdrop meta, is this all over? Of course not. Of course not. This is just a natural consolidation. Can it go down further? Yes, of course. Will it go down further? Who knows? I don't know. I got my TIA bags locked and loaded and staked. I still also think that there's going to be a lot of airdrops coming up, and this hasn't even started, right? So I think Celestia is going to do really well, especially as the Celestia kind of the TIA ecosystem is coming to life, and all of these modularity projects are launching, right? Movement Labs, Eclipse. We saw Banter Network already live. Saga is also live. So some of these projects are live, but many of them are still coming up. And I think we have to obviously get a few big airdrops for the community to also feel like, oh yeah, you know, this airdrop meta is actually real, because so far it hasn't really kicked in. Except for the dymension airdrop, I think that was a decent one for most people. But besides that, I think so far we're still waiting for some decent TIA airdrops. But yeah, my strategy with TIA here is to just keep compounding. If I would not have any TIA bags right now, I would probably want to get some. I understand a $10 billion valuation is also not cheap, but considering there was a 20 just a couple of weeks ago, means you're buying at a 50% discount. And yes, it can go down further. I think between 3 and 5 would be a nice entry, but I'm not sure if we will see those numbers again. So don't fade Celestia. I think it's going to be one of the biggest winners this cycle and actually can reach a $100 billion market cap. I would not be surprised at all. And my benchmark for those things is always ADA achieved a $100 billion market cap in 2021, right? Without anything. So Celestia reaching $100 billion in market cap FDV, in my view, totally feasible. And yes, I'm aware there's unlocks happening in October. But yeah, we have to just wait and see how things happen, right? Solana also had huge unlocks. All chains always have huge unlocks, but it doesn't mean that this is doomed to go down, right? So has Sui and Aptos and all these other huge VC chains. So yeah, let's just wait and see what's happening. But I think TIA is still one of the most important pillars, and this modularity narrative is not going anywhere. Next up, Osmosis, which actually has the 3rd birthday coming up in 1 month from today. And I know that exactly because that's also my birthday. So yeah, Osmo has done a lot in the bear market in terms of refining the tokenomics. We're still not fully there yet in terms of, you know, the inflation rate is still above 10%, while the staking APR is actually slightly below that. That's because the block rewards are partially also going to liquidity providers and to other parties as well. So hence the staking rewards are not that high. And am I still bullish on Osmosis? Well, I've been covering this project I think 3 or 4 months before it went live, right? I think we were the first ones also to cover the Osmo airdrop announcement. Back in the day, if you remember the legendary tweet, something's brewing. So that was the early days and also my early Cosmos days. And I think we've come a long way. We survived the Terra collapse UST, which was obviously heavily affecting liquidity on Osmosis, but they managed to pull through the bear market. They also attracted now new builders like Milky Way that is currently on Osmosis, but eventually will migrate to Initia to become a rollup on Initia. We have Membran, a lot more Mars protocol. There's also Levana, a lot of perp stexes, lending protocols, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I'm very bullish on Osmo, of course. 85 cents. I think anything below $1, in my opinion, is like picking up money from the floor, from the ground, because I think all-time high was around $12. So yeah, I do think it will go back there eventually. And I do think that Osmo right now is undervalued. If you look at this chart, I mean, this is, in my opinion, a no-brainer to allocate some Osmo here if you don't already have some. And eventually Osmo is going to go back on page 1 and also pull a move that Injective did, or Sei did, or even Akash did recently, right? So yeah, very bullish on Osmo. And I think this is also a must-have for every Cosmos or interchain portfolio. The same cons for Akash Network. Not going to talk too much about it because I talked about it a lot in recent weeks and months. I talked about it a lot actually in recent years because this is also something we've been covering here since the very early days, since 2021. And yeah, the super cloud is also now getting more and more integrations. We saw also Eric Voorhees integrating it on Venice AI, his new AI project. And yeah, this is also, in my opinion, a no-brainer. Inflation kept going up, though. It's now at almost 18%. The staking APR almost at 20%. And looking at their inflation parameters, we can actually see that they have a range of 13 and 20% for their inflation. And as long as we are below 67% that are bonded, we will go up. We'll gradually go up, and we'll go up to a roof of 20%. And we're right now at 18, so we're almost there. So for the AKT inflation to go down, we have to go above 67% bonded, and then we would gradually go down to the floor of 13%. That's IKT. Also, Axelar, I think, is a blue chip Cosmos project, interchain project, has a bit more conservative inflation, 4.8%, 7% staking APR. 1.15 billion total supply, which implies around 1.3 billion in market cap. They also have a very strong brand in kind of enterprise and institutional adoption. I also saw Avano Tech's video recently where he also talked a lot about Axelar. I think they also have a partnership, but yeah, he's also a big Axelar bull. And he also said that Axelar might actually be serious competition for Chainlink. So yeah, I think that's an interesting way to put it. when it comes to institutions and enterprise adoption. Next up, we have Saga, which I also talked a lot about here. By the way, I'm also an investor into Axelar as well as into Saga. So I've been investing into both of these projects many years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, so Saga, $2.18 came down a lot. They also obviously launched right when the bearish sideways chopping around started. But yeah, now really it's time, after a generous airdrop and a generous second airdrop already that happened, for the chain-led ecosystem to come to life. So I'm very, very excited about that. And I think Saga is actually the one that can build the gaming ecosystem in Cosmos and also create competition and create scaled adoption for the gaming economy, which is currently inexistent in Cosmos. So I'm very bullish on that. I think this is also from a positioning, right? We talked about Osmosis DeFi. We talked about Akash AI infrastructure, cloud, GPUs, right? We talked about Axelar interoperability. Now we talk about Saga for gaming. Then we also have obviously Sei Network, which is also one of the newer chains in Cosmos. That is also about this EVM meta, about parallel execution and scalability, right? Super fast chain. Some people also compared to Solana in terms of, being super fast, the fastest chain out there. You can also in the future probably compare it to Berachain in terms of their EVM integration. So Sei also integrates the EVM, similar to Injective. That's also in that bucket. Sei currently at 54 cents, which came down a lot from around $1, which they scratched on here a couple of months ago. I think the staking APR is super low, around 4 or 5%, something like that. And yeah, still has very low inflation. But here also similar to Celestia, the first unlocks are going to happen. I'm also, by the way, a private investor into Sei, not into TIA, but into Sei. And we're also running a validator with Stexito. We also did a full-on recap about the Sei ecosystem on the Stexito YouTube account, also for Celestia, by the way. So check out these videos as well, where we talk about the ecosystems respectively. Anyways, I have 2 more and also 2 quick alphas. Number 1, Stargaze, the premier interchain NFT marketplace, currently at 2 cents. Extremely low in my view, extremely low. This implies only a $50 million market cap. I talked about it a lot, so I'm not going to do that right now, but Stargaze is definitely one also for every Cosmos portfolio in my view. And there's currently an open edition, an open mint for Bad Kids Bad Edition, which is basically a celebration for the Bad Kids anniversary. And if you are a Bad Kids holder, you can mint this for free mint for Bad Kids holders, similar to how After the Filter had one a couple of weeks ago. So if you're holding Bad Kids, go and mint right now. And lastly, also Passage, the metaverse of Cosmos, which is also suffering a lot, 2.7 cents right now. This implies a $35 million market cap, fully diluted, absolutely nothing. But this is also going to be extremely well. I think this will run as soon as the metaverse meta comes back. And the Strange Clan also, which is a game that is built on Passage and also runs on Akash Network. Passage itself also has close ties and partnerships with Akash Network. Greg, I think, is also an investor into Passage. So there's also strong synergies there. And yeah, the Strange Clan Hunt, I talked about it a lot, is now live. You can play around with it. Actually, only today. I didn't do a video yesterday, but you can play around with it today as well. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video and it helped you to understand the interchain better, right? The interchain being all these different verticals, right? We talked about Celestia, modularity, Saga, gaming, Passage, metaverse, Stargaze, NFTs, Akash Network for AI and Deepin. We talked about Axelar Network for interoperability, the Cosmos Hub for being an interchain service provider and actually reclaiming more and more the Cosmos brand. I hope you understand how vast and diverse the Cosmos ecosystem is. And we haven't even talked about Fetch AI, about Kronos, about ThorChain, right? Those are all Cosmos chains as well. So if you want to hear more about that in the future, then stay subscribed to this YouTube channel. And if you're new, then subscribe now. It's totally for free and it supports the channel, it supports me, and you can learn more about the Cosmos ecosystem and the interchain. That said, I will enjoy Sunday. Stay safe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, be good.